welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're doing a little bit of a special item because we actually have three games here, and it's Army Group North, Army Group Center, and Army Group South. And this is part of the Destroy All Monsters operational series, which is a very cool name, I will have you know. And it's just, I don't know, it's so, okay. These are East Front games, DOI, World War II, operational level games, and this is from a fairly newish company called CSL, which is Conflict Simulations Limited, and it's designed by Ray Weiss, because I believe he's the designer of all of these games, just want to double check. Designed by Ray Weiss, yep, and developed by Matt Ward, okay. Solitaire suitability on all of these is a 6 out of 10. Yes. And that's a weight of 8 out of 10. Obviously that's game mechanics wise, because these are small. I don't weigh very much. You can play 1 to 2 players. Doesn't have a time of how long these play for, but it's 3 titles. They all use exactly the same system, and as you can imagine, these can all be played together. The maps all line up. And so in theory, if you want to play a huge game of this, you can play it 6 players really. Or you play each game individually, and it's a small, decently sized, a decently sized East Front game. So here, I do like the covers. You've got Von Lieb with his Panzer IVs on here. Here we've got Von Bach and a little rifle MG team, and down here we have Rundstedt, and he's got his Stukas here. So we're going to crack these open, see what it is. We've played The Forgotten War 1950 by CSL. It was a cool and interesting title. I don't know a lot about the Korean War, so that was a learning thing. This will be interesting to play because we all know Barbarossa, and so seeing this, it's people's iterations of it. What new do they bring to it? What can I, pick up from this? Why is this different? So it's always fun to explore that. So this is Army Group North. They'll come with this small rules pamphlet, which is 20 pages, including a little setup on page 19 here. The rules are not particularly dense, but there's usually some good meat to them. Looks like a big CRT on the back here, which has some interesting symbols on there. So this is the Army Group North counter sheet. Is there just one in here? Yes, just one. So you get 3d6, and there's one half counter sheet. And these have a very distinct chemically smell. It's the printing process that these are. You can see here these are, let me get these in focus, very clear, crisp counters. We have German grey units here. Oh, that's a lot of infantry, a couple of armor units. We got some Russian units, a lot of infantry. We got some mech infantry, armor unit. And these markers down here, I don't know what those are, but that's a very intense marker. I wonder if that's attrition. So it's a step loss marker. Okay. Step loss marker. I think these might be Finnish units down here, just based on that. And the flip side is your reduced side of all of those. Here we have Army Group North status pad. Make copies of this before its use. Well, that's interesting. I wonder if instead of using these, you can photocopy this and just you mark it all off. Which, that's really cool if that's an option. I actually really like that, especially for a small game like this. Really, you might only be using these counters. Let's just punch a couple here. These punch out very nicely. That was very simple. So these are printed on kind of the I don't know if this is cardboard or if it's wood. I never know. People tell me it's like pressed board or something like that. But so they're very crisp. You wouldn't really be able to clip these with a normal clipper, but they don't need it because they're very, very crisp. They do have the little side gates on them. But those punch very easily. Bag those up. That'll be nice. Okay. We have here a separate turn track marker, terrain effects chart, counterattack table, combat matrix. So this looks like whatever your defensive posture is versus what type of attack is going on. And it looks like here we had, these are the types of attacks, and these are the types of kind of defense or counterattacks that you're going to be doing, and what your defensive posture is. So I think whatever you're doing, what type of attack, what type of defense, you might get pluses or minuses or bonuses to your dice rolls. So that's pretty neat. That's single-sided. And the last thing in here is the map. Okay, and the map also has a very distinctive smell to it. Okay. Now this map, okay. Army Group North, so it's Leningrad. And you got Helsinki, Finland up here as well. You got Moscow all the way down to the bottom corner here. So you got a lot of rail lines, large roads and supply lines. Looks like you got some green divisions. And up here, so this is Finland, Russia. This is Poland and Belarus. Vilnius, Lithuania. It looks like there's not really any divisions over here because it was all part of kind of Soviet territory at that point. Two types of terrain it looks like realistically. Looks like there's clear terrain and frankly unclear terrain. I don't know if that's kind of rough terrain, because it looks like up here you've got more swampy land as well with these little swamp marks on them. But yeah, this is a very clear and crisp map. You can see it's got a very bold overlay of the hex overlay. That's the one thing I wanted to point out. When we played the Korean War, 1950 Forgotten War, we had a very early version of that map, and it was the printing wasn't the best. It was kind of fuzzy. Since then, this is kind of the real maps that you're supposed to get, where the printing is very crisp and clear. So the concerns I have with that other one, not the case in any of these other titles. So very, very happy about that. And it's a small game. This, because you've heard me complain about East Front games. They're all the same. They're not, but you're doing a similar type of thing. So having a small number of counters on a small map that I can play in a short time, that's what I want from this. Playing a 15-hour game with this, it's just not necessarily everyone's cup of tea. So that's Army Group North, and I do like that you can divvy it up and just play a short game of one of these if you want. I think that's a big credit here. So, it's North, and I imagine these are going to be fairly similar. Oh, let me dice out. Okay, Army Group Center, another 3 dice. Same rules. These are ever so slightly 1 column shorter. Still 20 pages. Yeah. Other than, I imagine there's a lot of similarities and maybe just a few individual differences with those. This one we have sheet of counters. And we have a lot more units on this one. So here we have a lot of German infantry. More armor. It's a significant amount more armor on this one. Good number of mech infantry. And some Russian powers as well, looks like. A lot of infantry down here. And again, you've got those decisions, postures, we'll call them for now. Game turn marker. Reduced units on the back. I wonder, is there another counter sheet in here? Nope, okay. They just give you far fewer of these step loss markers, which is interesting because these have a hell of a lot more steps to be taken. Gosh, this armor unit has 7 steps. That's fascinating. I'm very curious to see how that plays out, honestly. The German units have an average of 5 steps, 4 or 5, 6, sometimes 6 steps. Gosh, these have a lot of steps. I'm very interested to see what it's like. Good gracious, this has 8 steps on it. Wow. I'm definitely going to be making use of these. I'm probably not using these, if I'm honest with myself. So, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Game turn marker, terrain effects chart, same stuff as on here. Probably a few different numbers and bits and pieces, but I'll check that closer later. Here's the map for Army Group Center. The map is... Good gracious, that's a lot of the same map, isn't it? Okay. We're gonna get this back out again. No. Okay. So it looks like when you're playing all three together, there is a lot of overlap here. I mean, that's just over half the map is overlapped. But it does so very nicely, which is good. But again, you got a lot of dense, hard terrain, a lot of swamp here. Just north of Kiev. A lot of open space down here as well around Kursk. But that's the map. Keep that handy so that we can compare that like we did the other one. Okay. Dice. And Army Group South. Oof, this box is tight. There we go. More dice. You can never have too many dice. Same blue dice. I like that they use the same ones. Okay. This we have steps. Oh, good gracious. That's a lot of Soviet units. These are German units. These are Soviet units, my bad. Oof, these Soviet units look a bit weaker, but a significant number of those are mech infantry compared to the other ones. There's a ton of Soviet, or of Axis units. It looks like you've got a lot of different nations in here as well. So that'll be very interesting to see. And these are all the same. I compared those. They all have the same markings on them. Alright. Now this game has 2 counter sheets. One of which is basically entirely those step loss units, so. Again, probably use those mark-off sheets and photocopy those. So here's all the units. Ton of Russian units down here. And there is a lot of mech units there, which is nice. And an absolute ton of infantry down here. It doesn't say what the nations are, but I'm sure there's Croats and Poles. We'll see if it says in here. Yeah, it looks like there's Germans, motors, Soviet mech, Romanians, Hungarians, German air, German security, Slovaks, and Soviets. So yeah, a ton of stuff in there. The rule book for this one is only 17 pages. So this is 2 pages shorter, even though it's got twice as many counters in it. And we'll crack open the map. It just has a little less overlap on it. So you've got all the way down to Rostov over here, Kharkov, Kiev, Odessa, Sevastopol. And we're going to crack open this one. See, this one's got less overlap. So look at Kiev. So here you get a significant more map. You're not overlapping all the way down here like where you're with north and center. But yeah, you can picture it. It's going to be probably really only a 22 by 34 map if you have them all laid out decently. So a one map Barbarossa game, that's not terrible, if I'm honest with myself. But yeah, just wanted to show off these because these are fresh off the presses and these are very reasonably priced as well. I think you can buy them all as a bundle, which is dope. So check it out if you want. wanted to get all these opened up, see what they are. We're going to punch and play these here fairly sharpish. I don't know if I'm going to play them all together. I think I'm going to play them individually, only because I do like smaller games that I can play in a session. Maybe we'll one day get them all together and play them all. If the game system is, we can play all three as a big game in a short period of time, which we'll probably be able to. But so this is Army Group North, Center, and South from the Destroy All Monsters Operational Series from CSL. Appreciate Ray Weiss for letting us have copies of these. We're going to get these played at some point and let you know how they play. But these are available now off their website. And appreciate you guys tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.